4 point-like charged objects are fixed on the vertices of a square with side lengths a, and a is the distance between the charged objects, not the distance from any one object to the origin. Point P is located at the origin, the x-axis is horizontal, and the y-axis is vertical. And in part A, what are the x and y components of the electric field at point P? So in the x direction, this charge produces an electric field at point P, pointing away from it, and this charge also produces an electric field pointing away from it, but it's larger. So the electric field due to charge Q is Coulomb's constant by Q over the squared distance between a charge and point P. Well, using Pythagoras, we can get this distance, given we have a right triangle. So a squared is d squared plus d squared, or 2d squared. And therefore d squared is a squared on 2. So we get a squared in the denominator and 2 in the numerator. And the electric field due to the 3q charge acts to the left, so we have a negative sign, and Coulomb's constant by 3q on the same squared distance being a squared on 2, so 2 goes in the numerator. So we get 2 minus 6 is minus 4 kq on a squared. And now the y component of the electric field at point P is due to these two charges, so this charge has an electric field pointing away from it, and the top charge has an electric field pointing towards it. So the electric field due to the top charge is kq on the squared distance, which is a squared on 2, so that's pointing upwards, and the electric field due to the 2q charge also points upwards. So we have k by 2q on the squared distance to point P, which is a squared on 2. So what we get is 6kq on a squared. And now we'll go to part B. One of the 4 grass seed plots shown below shows the electric field for the 4 charges in this problem. Which is correct and why? Well, recall that we had positive charges at the bottom and a negative charge at the top. So the correct one will be the image where the electric field lines are continuous between a positive and negative charge and not continuous between the positive charges. So if we look at these 2 positive charges, this image is incorrect. And similarly, if we look at these 2 charges, the electric field lines between the positive charges are connected, so that's not correct. And in image C, the electric field lines are continuous between the positive and negative charges, as we can see, and discontinuous between the positive charges. So this is the correct image, as image D clearly shows the electric field lines connected between positive charges, so that's not correct. Now let's copy this image, as we'll use it later, and move on to part C. What is the electric potential at point P, assuming V equals 0 and infinity? Well, the electric potential is the sum of all the contributions of the electric potential due to each of these charges. And recall that the distance between each charge and point P can be obtained by Pythagoras, as d squared is a squared on 2, so d is a on root 2. So the electric potential due to the left charge is Coulomb's constant by the charge over the distance to point P, being a on root 2. And similarly for the negative charge, we have Coulomb's constant by the charge, which is negative q, on the distance to point P, which is a on root 2. And the 3q charge has an electric potential of k times 3q on a on root 2. And the 4th charge is positive, so we have Coulomb's constant by 2q on a on root 2. So we can see that these 2 terms cancel, and we're left with the electric potential at point P being 3 plus 2, or 5 root 2, by kq on A. Now let's move on to part D. We have the contour plots of the potentials of the 4 charges. The streaks are parallel to equipotential surfaces. One of the plots below corresponds to the potential contours of the 4 charges in this problem. Which is correct and why? We'll recall our electric field lines that we obtained in part B. And we can see the equipotential surfaces around each charge are almost spherical, and they're further apart as we move away from the positive charges, and they're further apart as we move towards the negative charge. So it's hard to see the difference between all these figures. But we also know the equipotential lines are perpendicular to the electric field lines. So if we look at our electric field line through P, it looks something like this. And the equipotential line through P is not perpendicular, so this can't be correct. And similarly, the equipotential line through P in this figure is not perpendicular to the electric field line, so that's not correct. And similarly, in this case, it's clearly not perpendicular to the electric field line, so this figure is likely correct. So let's make the electric field a bit transparent and overlay it over the potential plot. So you can see the electric field lines are perpendicular to the equipotential lines. And now we'll move on to part E and use our result from part C. We have a fifth point-like object starting from rest with charge plus 9Q moved from infinity to point P. What is the change in potential energy of the configuration of charged objects? Well, we had some potential energy of the configuration when these 4 charges were assembled, so that's before. So the change in potential energy is the potential energy of the 5 charge configuration minus that of the 4 charge configuration. And that's equal to the charge by the change in electric potential as we move it from the initial configuration to the final configuration. So that will be the potential at point P minus the initial potential. And we take the potential at infinity to be 0. So what we get is the charge being 9Q by the potential at point P, which we got from part C, being 5 root 2 KQ on A. So the change in potential energy of the charge configuration is 45 root 2 by KQ squared on A.